Hello everyone! I'd like to share my Beidou build and her team compositions with you in this short guide. I'm starting with her build, then go over her team compositions and then show some gameplay at the end of the video.
Witness the power. Eyes on me. With sword comes shadow. Speed of light.
Beidou actually uses a pretty standard support build, just high attack, crit rate, crit damage, in her case electro damage bonus, and since she has a pretty high energy costs, you want to have at least 180% energy recharge. You can go higher if you have the emblem set and get extra benefits. You can go for some elemental mastery like 100 to 200 and she will just do fine with electro reactions as well. For talents, prioritize leveling up the elemental burst skill, then the elemental skill, you can ignore the normal attacks. For constellations, most of them aren't as interesting. The Constellation 2 gives a huge damage increase to her elemental burst skill. At this point, she gets really interesting and you might want to consider building her. If you have Constellation 6, this lowers electro resistance when she hits with her elemental burst skill, and other electro characters can benefit from this, so this is another thing to keep in mind. For her weapon choices, I quite like to go with a weapon with energy recharge substats to make it easier to hit her overall high energy recharge requirements. I actually quite like the new craftable weapon, which is really accessible. Otherwise, if you have a sacrificial sword, it might be a little bit better because of the higher base attack. And you could also go for a Favonius Greatsword. If you don't have any of these or you don't like these, you could obviously go for a weapon with crit rate or crit damage substats or even attack percentage. If you have, for example, the other craftable weapon. Obviously, if you have a 5-star weapon, don't even think about it, it will always be better. For our artifact options, we already covered substats earlier. For main stats, you probably always want attack percentage here. If you don't have a weapon with energy recharge a substat, and you need to make up for a lot of it, you can consider going energy recharge main stat in this slot. In this slot, always electro damage bonus. And here always crit rate or crit damage, whichever one balances your stats better. For the set effects, the best set effect is probably the new Emblem of Severed Fate set, the 4-piece set effect. If you haven't quite farmed this yet, you can go for the Noblesse set. And if you have some of the Thundering Fury sets, you can pair the 2-piece Noblesse set with the 2-piece Thundering Fury set. If you don't have the Thundering Fury set, you can pair the 2-piece Noblesse set with the Gladiator set as kind of a budget option until you get something better. For team compositions, we run the usual 1 main DPS, 1 healer and 2 supports. Beidou as a sub DPS falls into the support category, so you only need to pick one of each in the remaining 3 slots. Let's get the easy choice out of the way first, because pretty much any healer works. I pick Bennett here because most people prefer him. And next we pick a main DPS, and depending on that main DPS we pick a second support. If you pick a cryo DPS like Ganyu, a pyro DPS like Hu Tao, and a hydro DPS like a Child, or an electro DPS like Keqing, and remember, Keqing or any electro damage benefits from Beidou's Constellation 6. If you pick one of these elements, you want an Anemo character in the last slot like Sucrose, Kazuha, Venti, whatever you have, to lower resistances to these elements. Obviously, you can always pick Zhongli as well, he kind of does the same and gives you more survivability. If you run another main DPS, for example Ningguang, you obviously need a Geo Resonance and need a Geo support. For example, the main character or Albedo, again Zhongli, whatever you have. If you run something like Zhao, you are pretty much set. You can pretty much pick any support in the last slot because you don't need anything to enable him. So you can pick a sub DPS like Jingshou or Zhangling, for example, or just something that has general utility, again Zhongli or an Anemo character to group up enemies. If you choose to pick a physical main DPS like Razor for example, you obviously only care about activating Superconduct. So you need a cryo support, for example Rosaria if you don't have her, Kea. Obviously, alternatively you could pick Diona as your healer and activate Superconduct between these two, or even Beidou and Diona. So you are free to pick whatever support you like in the last slot. Again, Zhongli for extra utility, or an Anemo character to group up enemies, or a sub DPS to deal more damage, whichever one fits your needs. If you have Eula as your physical main DPS, you obviously don't need another cryo character, you already activated Superconduct between Beidou and Eula, so again you can pretty much pick whatever in the last slot as a support. And now for the showcase. Beidou is actually quite easy to use as a sub DPS. All you have to do is press the Elemental Burst skill and switch back to your damaging characters, and when they attack they will deal extra electro damage. Like this. But if you want to make use of Beidou's whole kit, you want to get used to her counter and block mechanic. You can kind of do this in 3 steps. The first one is just holding down the button and block everything and counter. This doesn't require timing, but you will deal less damage this way. The next thing about this is perfect countering. Now we unfortunately have to wait until he stops spinning. For this you need to wait until the attack is about to hit you, then press the button and not hold the button, and she will counter and block and counter immediately. Like this. And as you see, you deal a lot of more damage, and this is the preferred way to do it. And the last step to this is you obviously don't want to have a lot of downtime on your characters while attacking, so you want to incorporate your character switching into this. So you attack, 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 switch, block, and switch back and keep attacking. And this is pretty much all there is to it. Now let's just kill this real quick with Ayaka, and we are done with the showcase. For now I'll leave you with some Abyss 12 gameplay, and I'll come back at the end of the video.
Let's get down to business.
Animal hypostasis. Everybody stand back.
My blade. To ashes. My blade.
Alright, we made it to the end. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this gave you some inspiration for your own builds. Stay tuned for more guides in the future. Until then, have fun in Tevat and bye bye.